Hi, this is Losing Faith, Finding Spirit. Today I'm going to be talking about financial abuse. This is going to be like an overview kind of video, and I'm hoping to kind of delve into some of the other aspects of financial abuse a little bit deeper over time. I am personally still overcoming the fallout of the financial abuse that I experienced in my marriage. Still trying to overcome and unlearn certain beliefs and patterns within my financial situation and trying to just kind of get back on my feet and just be in a better place. So this is going to be kind of a as I learn, I will share with you kind of series. First, I'm going to talk about the foundation. Just like I talked about childhood foundations in relationships with your parents and in traumas lead to possible interactions with abusers in the future and in your adult relationship, the message that you learn about money and finances in your childhood has ever-reaching effects as you grow up into adulthood. How your parents taught you about money, how your parents talked about money, how your parents used money, how your parents gave or distributed money or funds to you affect how you experience money as you grow up. And could also have a lingering effect in these kinds of relationships. You don't have to have a bad money foundation to experience financial abuse in a marriage or in a relationship. Almost all abusers, whether emotionally, physically, it doesn't matter, abusers, almost all of them use financial abuse as a part of their abusive strategies, as a part of their manipulation tactics. Financial abuse is when one partner basically has complete control of the finances. Maybe one partner is the breadwinner. Maybe one partner is it's about unequal distribution of power using money. In my case, my ex was the breadwinner, and it didn't start out that way. So that's why it kind of was like a slow trickle into this sort of experience. But by the end of the marriage, he was the only one making money. Any money that I did make, I had to put into the joint account. But he could make side money on his own and keep it in his side accounts. We had an allowance. I was given a certain amount of money, like a very meager, very pitiful amount of money every month. That was supposed to be like my money that I can do what I want with. And I had my own. Thankfully, we did have separate accounts plus the joint account. So I was able to save that money over time. That very small amount of money that I was getting. And if I wanted to buy something for myself, I would have to, if I wanted to use the joint funds to buy it, I would have to get his approval. And if I didn't want to go through his approval, I could just use my own personal funds. And that's kind of where it got. And to the point where sometimes I wanted things and he'd say, well, you just use your own money for that. Use your own money for that. You don't need to use the joint money. Meanwhile, we had more than enough in the joint money. Now that I'm seeing it clearly and I've had time to kind of process things, I can't even, it blows my mind that I lived that way. And that's why I want to talk about the financial foundation, because I know now that my beliefs about money growing up, what I was taught about money from my parents and from the church, from the evangelical Christian church, affected how I got into this financial issues, like into this abusive situation financially. My parents taught us from a scarcity mindset when it came to money. My parents always acted like we didn't have enough money for things. So like Christmas would come around and my mom, every Christmas, don't expect a lot. Budget's really tight. We had to tighten our strings, the purse strings this year. That was one of their favorite things. We had to tighten our purse strings this year, so don't expect a lot at Christmas. And then every Christmas, you couldn't see the floor because there were so many presents. So it was very contradictory. Like, did we not have money or do we have money? What's going on? And then my mom was very secretive. when it came to money. Like she opened a saving, like a secret separate account, and like told me like, you know, you're my POD, you're my payable upon death person. Don't tell your father. Or she'd do something like, you know, cover some car insurance. I'm going to cover your car insurance, but don't tell your siblings. I can't cover theirs this year, this time. Don't let them know that I'm doing this for you. I don't have enough for them. Like, and I know that that makes her feel better. My mom's a vulnerable covert narcissist, and she's on the lower end of the scale. So she's not like super high on the narcissist scale. But this is her doing this to make herself look good. Like, but it's very shady. So money was like skeezy. Money was like icky. It gives me a bad feeling. And there's not enough of it. My role within that family system was the emotional scapegoat. My mom came to me, I was her therapist, so I held a lot of emotional responsibility that wasn't mine for my family situation. So I felt responsible for the financial issues that my parents supposedly were having. So I made sure not to ask for things that I didn't absolutely need. I didn't ask for things. I tried to save up and buy things on my own because I was afraid that I was going to like use up all of my parents' money and we weren't going to have enough money for my brother and sister and it was going to be all my fault. So I got in my mind a belief that I wasn't worth buying things for. Like, I'm not worth getting nice things because I need to save for other people. So that was a belief that kind of developed in that kind of chaotic household because of the weird jaded way my parents were with money. The way we never got an allowance growing up. I never got an allowance growing up. So any money that I had that was mine was stuff that I got from babysitting jobs. And my mom didn't want us to work while we were in school. Like, there was a rule that you couldn't work while in school. So I couldn't like buy my own car. I couldn't like buy my own clothes. I couldn't like buy my own things. Any money that I got was either from like holidays, birthdays, or doing babysitting stuff. And I did get a couple small jobs here and there, like in the summer, cash only kind of jobs. And I was able to get money for that. I didn't have an account, any kind of banking accounts until I was graduated from high school. And credit cards were the devil. My parents didn't believe in any kind of debt, even though they both were in heaps of debt, which is why they kept saying they were poor, even though we were not poor. We were very well off. I mean, we weren't like super rich, but we definitely never needed for anything. But I felt like we were poor. I had a poor scarcity mindset as a child. And I knew not to ask for name brand things. I knew not to ask for things. I would wear stuff that had holes in it because I didn't want to ask for new stuff. And then my mom, because she's a narcissist, couldn't handle us having holes, so she'd buy new stuff. And like buy stuff that we didn't even like, buy stuff that wasn't our personality, or take us to get new clothes, and you know, and then try to make us look the way she wanted us to look. Very much into looks. Very, like, I mean, I never forget the message my mom said about like, you know, make sure you're dressed to the nines to go to the mailbox. You never know who you're going to run into when you check the mail. Like, so I felt like I had to be fully clothed with makeup just to step outside of the door. There's a lot of weird beliefs about all kinds of stuff growing up in that kind of an environment. Then the church, the evangelical Christian church, with purity culture, taught that the man of the house was supposed to be in charge of the finances, that women are supposed to be at home, they're supposed to be the caregivers, nurturers, they're supposed to have babies, make babies, raise the babies, be at home. Like, that's supposed to be your worth as a woman, is to just be a stay-at-home mom. And like, that's the dream. Everybody wants that. And not everybody could do it. Like, a lot of people worked. And I knew I didn't want that for me. I wanted to work. I said I would never be a stay-at-home mom. I like going out and working. Working is nice. I love feeling like I have my own money. I love feeling like I'm meeting new people. I really enjoyed working. The me back then could not have foreseen the me that after I had a child. I ended up being forced to be a stay-at-home mom because I got told, he's making enough money. We don't need your money to work. You don't need to work. So why would you work? And it's like, because I want to. Like, I don't want to be a stay-at-home mom. I don't want to. That's not my calling. That was not my gift. So I was stressed out the entire time I was having to be a stay-at-home mom because I was still trying to do some work. I was trying to do some freelance stuff. And my ex never considered my freelance stuff as a job, never treated it like it was important, and kept telling me to stop doing it. So there was a lot of manipulation, a lot of gaslighting, a lot of trying to, basically tell me not to do what I wanted to do. And there was the whole mentality from the traditional church, or the values that the church tried to give on what the roles of a husband and wife were. So that's the foundation. The foundation was my parents were very weird with money. I never knew if we had enough or didn't. I felt responsible and I had a scarcity mindset. And the church spiritually tried to say that women weren't supposed to work. So everyone was jealous of the women who got to stay home. My own personality, my own personal opinions, my own personal values were not taken into account. And then as I got married, I never expected that to happen to me, because when we first were dating and when we got married, I was working full time. I was the one who was making the finances when we first got married. He was still finishing school. And then things changed and I had to quit a job because it was very stressful. And we opened a small business for a while he was working full time. And then that became stressful because my partner was him. And I couldn't continue the business to the level that he had set it up because he was doing a lot of the work, a lot of the background work. So we had to basically close down the business after a couple years. And he focused on his job and I just was at home trying to figure something out. And I found some things, doing some freelance work and doing some different things that brought in a little bit of money here and there, but it kind of just went back into what I was doing. And if I got money in, it had to go into the joint account first. And then we would just divide up our small little allowance portions. But he could spend money on anything, whenever. And it was always justified, whether it came from which accounts. But if I wanted something, I had to make excuses. I had to justify, I had to over-explain myself. And a lot of times I didn't ask for a lot because I didn't believe I was worthy to have things. So where I'm at now in trying to heal this, because I'm trying to believe that money is, it doesn't matter where the source comes from, whether it's from my work or from alimony, from child support. Once the money is in my hands, it's in my account, it's mine. It doesn't matter where it comes from. It's mine. And it's mine to see and spend how I believe and see fit. And I am worthy to buy myself things. I'm worthy of being able to buy stuff. I don't have to have a purse that's falling apart. I can buy a new purse for myself. I'm not going to spend $300 on a purse. That's just not me. I've never cared for that. But I don't have to be cheap about it either. I don't have to live with a broken thing. I can buy something new for myself. That's a new mindset. That's something I'm having to relearn. That's something I'm trying to fix in my mind, is that I am worthy to buy stuff for. I'm worth spending money on. I am good with my money. I am smart. I don't go above and beyond, and I can still splurge every now and then. I can buy, takeout if I don't feel like cooking at the evening. I can get the nice stuff at the grocery store that I like, the brands that I like. I don't have to be cheap all the time. I don't have to live in that scarcity mindset. But I'm just trying to heal this mindset because I know it all comes down to not feeling worthy, not feeling like I deserve things. When I do, when I'm no different than anybody else, I can buy myself some things that I like. I buy my kids stuff all the time, you know what I mean? Within reason. I'm not like buying toys every day because we have too many. You know what I mean? Like within reason. And we're not poor. But we can't go over the top. Can't go to Disney every day. Like that's just not within our budget. So it's knowing your limits and accepting that and knowing that you're worth it. I'm worth it. And that's my first step to trying to heal the financial trauma that I experienced after the divorce. And I'm still at the first stages of healing my finances, the very first stages. And it is a daunting task, I'm going to tell you. I know that if it's stuck in that mindset of, I never wanted to be here. I never wanted to quit work to be a stay-at-home mom, but I got talked into it. And I regret that. I have a lot of shame and regret around that. And because I was made to feel guilty for wanting to work. I was told, like, you know, you're a mom, you need to put all your, my ex told me, you know, you're a mom, why aren't you putting all your efforts into being a mom? You're a great mom, you need to put all your, because I don't want to, because that's not my calling, because it stresses me out, because I feel better when I'm making money. And if I said that, if I said, you know, well, I really want to feel like I need to get some money, I need to be making some kind of income, he'd put me down and tell me that, you know, we don't need it. And why do you feel so scared? And that's your mom talking, and that's your upbringing, and that's your own issues because your parents were so messed up. You know, that, so it's like devalued and belittled and invalidated, gaslighted. So my needs were never met anywhere within the relationship. And now that I'm had enough time away from it, it's like extremely eye-opening kind of discussing this and talking about it and relating these conversations that occurred and the events that occurred. And I'm saying it and sharing it in my hopes of somebody resonating with somebody out there, a listener, so that you don't go through it, so that you recognize that these patterns are happening, they are abuse. You need to end it. You need to get some money. You need to save. You need to get your own independent money. My therapist told me you don't have to share money. You don't have to put all your money into the account. It's your money. Yeah, depending on your state, when you divorce, it could be 50-50, but even then, 50-50. That half is your half. And it's hard because you feel like it keeps you stuck. The reason why people use finances to manipulate is because it keeps you physically stuck. You can't. What are you going to do? If you don't have a car, how are you going to leave? If you don't have your own finances, how are you going to pay for the things that you need? How are you going to pay for medical expenses? How are you going to do different things, right? So that's what I felt. Thankfully, my therapist helped me realize that I wouldn't be completely on my own, that the legal system does allow for people to have alimony, for there to be child support, there to be some kind of financial holdover. But I felt very conflicted and afraid of that because I thought, if I'm reliant, and I still feel that way because I'm not independent yet, if I'm relying on him to pay me alimony for me to survive, like to pay my bills, what if he quits his job and gets crazy and goes off the deep end? What if he suddenly decides to stop paying? I can't live like that. And so I've been living in fear. Figure out what your situation is. Talk to a lawyer. Like really talk to a lawyer. And find out what your financial options are. So that you don't, you know, out of fear, put yourself into a really tight spot. You deserve better. You deserve to spend the money on yourself. You deserve to have money of your own. You deserve to live a content, peaceful, satisfying life. You deserve it. And I wish you the best, and I hope that this helps you break that old mindset, figure out what's going on with your own money mindset, maybe free some of those old ways of thinking, break that false belief system, and bring you into a more like healthy state of mind so that you can find your own riches and your path to financial freedom from this abuse and to heal from the financial abuse and get yourself out of it. That is my wish for you. I wish you the best. Thank you for listening. Bye.